Hey y'all, welcome to day 3 of Finance Miss. And today we're going to talk about lessons I've learned from mentoring women to save, invest, and pay off over $3 million. While I'm doing that, we're going to say cheers with some apple cider, some sparkling apple cider in a wine glass to make me feel fancy. Tastes just like apple cider. All right, and I'm going to open some packages that I got. So one of the first things I learned was that everyone's not ready to do the work at all. You will learn people make excuses as to why they can or can't do something. You can show them the plan, you can give them the plan, you can give them the blueprint, and they're just not ready. And some of the things I say to that is that it's perfectly fine. If you're not ready, be honest about not being ready and sit on the sidelines. Allow yourself to see what's happening. Allow yourself to take in information. Allow yourself to just literally become motivated. Everyone's not going to be ready at the same time. Everyone's not going to be, excited and motivated on their journey at the same time, and it's totally fine. But what I think is important is to understand when you are ready and understand when you're not ready. And when you are ready, understanding that it's going to take work. It is going to take consistent work. It is going to take active work, whether it's paying off debt, whether it's saving money, whether it's investing. All of those things are ongoing, and they're not just things that you learn and then you're done, right? You don't just learn to pay off debt and then you're done, right? For some of us, especially me, I paid off my debt and then I got right back into debt, right? So I paid off all of my credit card debt, all of my consumer debt, and then I got a mortgage. So now I'm working to pay that off, right? I learned how to invest and I learned very little. And then I started learning more how to invest, learning different ways to invest, different strategies, what dollar cost averaging is. And let's just say that's a really fancy term for just saying I invest the same amount of money every month, no matter how the market is doing. So if you have a 401k, a 403b, a TSP, a TIAA, and you put the same amount of money to that account from your check, you are dollar cost averaging investing. That's all that means. But really, everyone is not going to be ready. But understanding when you are, that it's time to go hard. It's not time to be in and out. It's not time to be on the fence. It's literally your time to go hard and make sure you hit the goals. The second thing I learned is that it requires being uncomfortable. And this is going to be a twofold, right? So a lot of us grew up in a space where, we didn't have the money foundation. We didn't grow up having those type of conversations with, your parents about money. You didn't grow up with someone who taught you about money or investing or anything. A lot of what my parents knew was that you worked and you got a pension when you retired. But there was so much more to that. And I couldn't blame them because at that time and for their generation, that was the thing. You worked at a place that had a pension. That was the main focus. And now, as you get older, you start to learn different types of investing. You start to learn different types of ways to save. You start to have the conversation with your own friends, your own family about money. Money is such a taboo topic, and I really don't understand how. Oh, look, y'all. I ordered a Snuggle Me for the baby. It's actually this is nice. I ordered a Snuggle Me for the baby. It was 40% off for Black Friday. And I got the Snuggle Me and 2 covers for less than the price of one Snuggle Me. So shout out to that. But, we didn't grow up with the foundation. We didn't grow up with that knowledge of money. And these are the 2 covers. This is cute. I actually really like this one. And these are cute. We didn't grow up with that type of foundation of money. And now at our big ages, we're learning how to teach ourselves and we're learning how to have those uncomfortable conversations. Life is more than just paying bills. Life is more than just waking up and shopping or, going on vacations and spending your money. We need to be well-rounded and well-balanced people. And honestly, that takes consistent, active work. Again, something we weren't taught. So now you have to find the balance in your own money story. And this is something that I teach, the women in my community, is that what do you want from life? You can have multiple things, but it comes at a price of what you're willing to sacrifice. It also comes at a price of what's going to be most important to you. So for me right now, actively, I'm saving a lot of money. I'm not traveling the way Selma 5-6 years ago would travel. She would be out the country. Every break, every holiday, every long weekend, every birthday, she would be out the country. But now I've switched my mindset to say, like, now I want a house, right? So actively understanding what you want is something that I teach the women. And I also teach them to be honest with themselves. A lot of us don't know our expenses. A lot of us think the budget doesn't work. But the reality is, because we don't know our numbers, we're not aware of what we're spending our money on. We don't know what a bill is. We don't know what bills are coming out. A lot of us are halving, putting things on credit cards and then not fully paying it off when you get paid. So credit cards are keeping you afloat, but really they're putting you in debt. It's like a chain around your ankle that you can't let go of. So just getting your money story right, I think it's important. Figuring out your why is important. I learned that a lot of women, we have over 160,000 women in our community. Really, it might be more across our platforms, but sometimes we just don't know where to start. And I always say the first place you start is really just writing down your income, how much you make every single month, and then going into understanding what your expenses are. And y'all like to play. Like, y'all like shopping is an expense. It's not a necessity. When we start budgeting, when we start writing things down, we want to make sure we cover the necessary expenses. Because if we start covering all the other things we do, you realize you're actually negative most months. And that's hard for some people to hear. Like, if I had to just use my debit card, I would not have enough money. I would not have enough money. And a lot of us don't know that because we've never sat down and truly faced our numbers. And that is the one thing I'm always big on. I'm always big on facing your numbers. So if you haven't, you need to be looking at your money. You need to be looking at your expenses, right? And when we talk about expenses, we want to talk about the necessary ones. So the things we need to survive. Now, there are things we need to survive and there are things we need to thrive, and they're different. So when we talk about things we need to survive, you need shelter, you need food. And when I say food, I mean cooking. I don't mean eating out. You need transportation to get to and from work, right? You need a phone. You need light. You need Wi-Fi. You don't need cable like channels. You need Wi-Fi. Subscriptions are considered a thrive. They're not necessary. Clothing for whatever you want is not considered necessary. A new phone every year when your old phone work is not considered necessary, right? Having 20, 30 affirms for clothes and products that you don't need, those are not necessary. So when you really want to budget, when you really want to get out of debt, when you really want to save, when you really want to invest, you learn to start shrinking those unnecessary expenses down, or you learn to increase your money to the point where you can do both. But a lot of us really need to start with just understanding what our core bills are. That's one thing I realized about a lot of women, is that we don't know what our core bills are, and we don't, and that's the first place we need to start. Like, what's the core bills, right? Another thing I want to say that the women don't realize is that this is an ongoing, for the rest of your life process. Your finances are an ongoing, for the rest of your life process. What do you mean? You're always going to be looking for a paycheck. You're always going to be looking for money, which means you always need to manage that money. You always want to make sure that money is correct. You always want to make sure it's going to where it needs to go to. When I first started this debt-free journey in 2019, there were so many people on Instagram. Like, I saw so many people, so many pages. And like, now I go back and I look, and like, some of those pages haven't been active in years. And sometimes it makes me feel like, did those people also give up on their financial journey? One, maybe because they didn't think that it would be a realistic timeline. Two, maybe because they weren't motivated enough, or they didn't have a community of people who were supporting them and cheering them on. Or like what, or did they finish their journey? We would never know. But I have had to like go in and unfollow so many pages that haven't been active in years. This is an ongoing thing. You get out of debt, right? The debt is like the iceberg under the water. You get out of the debt, you surface level now. Like you right there, your head is right above water. You start investing, you start saving, you start learning about real estate, you start learning about, ETFs, index funds, you start learning about life insurance, you start learning about ways to make more money. You start learning about passive income. You start learning about active income. And now you've gone from being under, hitting an iceberg, to now thriving above water and being able to live. And I see that a lot of women just start at the, like, I got to pay off the debt. But I'm telling you, it is only the beginning of your wealth building journey. It's only the beginning of your get rich journey. Like once the debt is gone, you free up so much money to thrive. And I think a lot of us grew up probably in a space where debt just seemed like a normal extra bill. Like it was like, yeah, that's just a bill. I don't want that bill. Keep the credit card debt, keep the big car loans, keep all of those. I'll take the mortgages. I'll take the investment property mortgages. I'll take all of those things, but keep everything else. So as we close out day 3, right, and the lesson that I've learned from helping women save, invest, and pay off over $3 million worth of debt, I want you to think about this. What lessons have you learned on your financial journey in 2024? And what is something that you taught someone else this year? See y'all for day 4. Mwah.